All right. So, hey everyone, welcome to the newest episode of Community Cleaning with Clearview. Thank you everyone for watching. So, on today's episode, I'm on here with Jack Kopko from Roof Maxx, and we're going to be talking about one of the community's largest investments, which is roofing. Jack, first of all, thank you for joining me today.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me, Jose. Excited to be here.
Yeah, our first question to you, Jack, is going to be, why do people see a lot more mold and mildew on their roofs now compared to, like a bunch of years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago?
Right. Yeah. I mean, the whole reason that you're seeing roofs get dirtier where you may have not seen it back in the day. I can't speak on me seeing personal roofs back in the day because I wasn't alive then.
Yeah.
But I've from what I've learned, it's because they change up the way that they break down and they refine the oil. So they installed these coker, they're $1 billion pieces of equipment into these refinery units. They're called coker units. And what happened is the byproduct of oil went from, which is asphalt, went from 5% to 2.5% to 3%. So back in the, I believe it was 80s or 90s, you saw the prices of asphalt shingle roofs skyrocket. And so in retrospect, since the shingle roof is supposed to be the affordable roof for the everyday homeowner, they took out 33% of that asphalt and it now contains a limestone filler. And so since your roof doesn't have as much asphalt, that's why you're seeing them become dirtier as opposed to not back in the day.
Yep, 100%. And, I'm just going to get a little technical with you now. So, the type of mold spore that begins to grow is called the Glioblastoma. And then, that's where you start seeing, the mold on your roof. And then the reason that you see it, like if you see it on one house in a community, it usually starts spreading out to the other houses because that is then transmitted through the air and then it falls on, the roof. And normally you see it on the north-facing side just because it tends to be the more, damper side of the roof. And, if you look at your front neighbor's house, you think his roof is clean, but actually his front is your back. So then you'll see the same kind of result on the back of his or her roof. So, thanks for the explanation, Jack. My second question is, what are some of the harmful effects that, moss, mold, and mildew can have on roofs?
Right. First effect is you look at your roof every day, the front of your home, you're going to look at your house because it's one of your largest investments that you have as a homeowner. So first and foremost, the first harmful effect is the curb appeal to your home. The curb appeal is a very important thing, especially for buyers or especially for sellers in the real estate market.
100%. So, I'm just going to take everyone through kind of like, the process of how that begins to form on the roof. So, first you start seeing the black streaks on the roof, right? And then you start to see the lichen form, which is like circular, like mint green algae. And it attaches to the granules on the roof, and then it starts to eat away at the granules of the roof, which can significantly lower the life expectancy.
And your roof needs the shingle granulars because that's what gives your shingles and the asphalt its UV protection. So the granules on top of the roof are a very important component, and this lichen and moss can actually eat away at it and cause the roof to fail prematurely.
I think we said already, the roof is one of the community's largest investments. So, just like any other investment, it makes sense to protect it. So, on that note, what does preventative maintenance mean for a roof?
Best way to explain preventative maintenance is to compare it to your car with Jiffy Lube. You take your car there to get your tires rotated, your oil changed, prolong the life of your car, and you still end up getting a pretty penny, especially in today's market for your used car. Why are homeowners not doing any preventative maintenance to their lifetime shingle, replacing it at 20 years and getting $0 back for it? So by performing preventative maintenance, you're able to prolong the life of your roof. With the Roof Maxx treatment, it's basically an oil change to your shingle. When they manufacture your shingle, they soak them in a petrochemical oil. Over time, with the sun beating down on your roof every day, that oil will evaporate out of your shingles, just like any other oil or liquid. And so what the Roof Maxx treatment is necessarily doing is it's replacing that lost petrochemical oil with an all-natural plant-based product, Roof Maxx, that can guarantee 5 years per treatment. One treatment gets you 5 years, and right now our science tells us we can do up to 3 treatments, prolonging the life of your lifetime shingle that's dried out at 10 to 15 years and making it a true 30-year shingle.
The first thing you see on a house is the roof. right? So, and even if it comes to the case where people are replacing their roofs because they see these, black streaks, they see the lichen, when the roof doesn't need to be replaced yet. And, that's just because they think that the cosmetic is equivalent to the whole integrity of the roof. And that's, something that we do with our soft wash process. So, we take care of all that, the black streaks, the lichen, the mold and mildew, that we really help improve the cosmetic of the roof.
And I want to just jump in here, Jose, and get your expert opinion. Should I be going up on my roof and using my pressure washer? Or why shouldn't we pressure wash a roof? And can you break down this soft wash technique that you guys use a little more in depth?
Yeah, definitely. So, to answer your first question, definitely not. You shouldn't be like power washing or using really any type of pressure. You don't want to go up there with like a broom or, or scrape or anything like that, because, once you start seeing the lichen, so that's attached to the roof granules. And if you start ripping that off, it's going to start ripping off the granules, which will mess with the integrity of the roof. So with our soft wash process, what we do is we spray our solutions, which is like, some bleach mixed with like other soaps and solutions that will kill all the mold, mildew, and lichen of the roof. And then we lightly rinse it down with water. That way we remove all our solutions, remove all the mold, mildew, and lichen, so that it's effectively gone without adding any pressure, which could damage the roof. Right. We, recently, back towards the end of last year in November, we did a big community for Mark Rogers over at Society Hill. Right. And, it was, I think like over 20 buildings, and we got all the mold and mildew off of that without, a single, anything being done to the roofs, which, if you were power washing, it would be like, people would be calling left and right, which with reason, because we're damaging the roofs. But with our soft wash process, it really eliminates that and improves the cosmetics.
Right. And I think it's important to note the soft wash is the appearance, the Roof Maxx is the performance, to break it down for everyone watching. And the best way I like to compare a shingle to a homeowner, a community association manager, etc., is compare a wet sponge versus a dry sponge. A dry sponge you can rip apart, it cracks, it breaks, and it's no good. A wet sponge, it's flexible, and your shingles need to be flexible to be able to expand and contract and perform its waterproofing capabilities. So the Roof Maxx treatment is taking your dry sponge and making it a wet sponge again. It is the best way I like to describe it.
Yeah, definitely, Jack. And so let me ask you. So let's say I was a manager, and after a board meeting, the board came to the conclusion that we need to look into replacing our roofs. Before I go ahead and, get a bunch of different quotes for replacing our roofs, what would be a good thing to do?
Good thing to do would be to call us. We have to get our eyes on every single roof that we treat. Everyone will tell me my roof's X amount of years. That doesn't mean anything. It all depends on the manufacturer, the environment your shingles are in, and how they've held up within the weather. We've sprayed roofs as old as 20 to 25 years old. We've failed roofs as young as 7 years because they were oceanfront and they had too much granular loss from the salt air deteriorating their shingles. And so a roof's age doesn't tell us anything. And so what we do is we do a full Roof Maxx assessment, which we've been trained and professionally by Roof Maxx Corporate. They are nothing but fantastic. So what we're looking for is to make sure your shingles have the granulars, there's no major leaks, your seal tabs are good for the most part. We're looking for the shingle flexibility, making sure the roof is properly ventilated, and making sure there's no outstanding issues. And then if you decided to go forward with the work from us, we have a two-part process. Well, it would be three-part in an essence. We first would have the roof soft wash cleaned by a professional like yourself. We'd wait a good week or two, let a good rain get through, rinse off anything that still might be up there. And then we'd go ahead and we would do our two-part process that's done the same day. Step one is to do a full roof tune-up. So we will fix any nails that are beginning to back out of the shingles, fix any nail pops, caulk any of the areas that need caulking. Any exposed nail on your shingle roof should have caulk over top of it. Why is that? It's because if you have an exposed nail and it keeps getting rain and water on it, it'll begin to rust. And rusted nails just back out of the shingles easier, which is why it's very important to have caulk over every single nail. We'll replace the rain collars around the vent pipes. That is the number one leak-prone area on a roof. That rubber gasket that goes around the rain collar does not last as long as your asphalt shingle roof, and a lot of people don't know that. So if you ever start seeing spots around a kitchen, a bathroom vent, it's 9 times out of 10, it's that rain collar that just needs a quick replacement. Mm-hmm. And then after that, we'd spray our 100% plant-based product on top of your asphalt shingle roof. It would spray on as a white foam, dissipate into the shingles within the hour, and the flexibility in your shingle will be brought back within 72 hours. So that's how our process would work.
Awesome. So, I think that's super important because, let's say, you go out there and do assessment. If the roof needs to be replaced, then, it needs to be replaced. But if the community can, do your Roof Maxx treatment and prolong the life of the roof, which will, then, eventually it's going to need to be replaced. No right. One here is saying that, the roof is going to last forever. But if you could, prolong it and get the most value for what you invested into your roof, and just get the assessment from yourself, I think that's very important.
Right. And I think as a community manager, your number one goal is to provide your board with every single option available out there. And not every property manager knows this exists. It's a relatively new concept that's been in the works for the last decade, this roof rejuvenation. You never were able to do it with an asphalt shingle roof. It was only replacement. And so the nice thing Roof Maxx has done is they've had some incredible case studies out there. Our dealer down in Alabama, Keddy Robinson, he treated a roof before Hurricane Sally hit. He flew his drone over the community. The Roof Maxx treated roof was the only roof that didn't have tarps along the entire ridge. We did a community association in New Jersey where they weren't so sure on the product. It's a very new concept. They decided to treat one building. High winds and storms came. The treated building was fine, and the rest of the buildings had shingles blow off. Leaks began to occur. So they then treated another half of the buildings. Another storm, I think it was a hurricane came. It was in New Jersey a few years back. And what happened was the treated buildings were fine and the untreated buildings were not. And so they ended up treating the whole community, but they also had to pay all those shingle repairs and all those leaks and damage repairs. So by performing preventative maintenance, you're spending about 15 to 20% the cost of roof replacement to get you 5 more years. It's also a great tool for these. A lot of these roof reserve funds aren't properly funded, and a lot of them actually have that the homeowner is responsible for the cost of your roof. So I think it's very important to be able to at least explore all of the options that are out there for you and provide your clients, your tenants, and your property managers with all options.
100%, Jack. I really want to thank you again for coming on here with me. I think we were able to get a lot of information in, and I think it's important because I know that before I started working with Clearview, I wasn't too well versed on the roof of my house. I was like, okay, it has black streaks, like is it gonna fail? Like, do I need to get a new roof? And I think between the expertise that yourself and I have talked about today, hopefully this is able to shine a light on some lesser known facts about the roofs of these community associations.
Absolutely, and I appreciate your time. Thank you so much, Jose. It was a pleasure getting to know you more. And if I can ever do anything for anyone out there, please don't hesitate to reach out.
Definitely. And just one last thing. So if, I'm a manager, I want to reach out to you to get an assessment, what's the best way to get a hold of you?
Yeah, you can call or text me on my personal cell phone. It'll ring right here. That's my work phone as well. I can be reached at 610-883-7936. If you're just looking to find some more information on the product, you can visit roofmax.com, or you can go onto YouTube. There's testimonials from top home inspectors in the country. There's testimonials from real estate experts with 30 plus years experience. And so there's a lot of great information out there on YouTube, and I can be reached by email at jkopko@roofmax.com, which is JKOPKO at ROOFMAXX.com.
All right. Awesome, Jack. Thanks so much.
Awesome. Thanks, Jose.
All right.